To Studio 5. We are creatures of habit. You've heard that fact before. It's a phrase that also applies to our relationships. Studio 5's Dr. Matt Townsend says knowing our relationship patterns can help build a stronger, smoother dynamic. People get caught up in these patterns.
Oh, yeah.
You say you see it affect couples again and again.
Well, so the pattern might just be how you met, because one of you is more aggressive and you're the one, like you, for example. You just went after Mark and like hounding him, and poor Mark's like trying to get away. Leave me alone, leave me alone.
Lucky guy.
Yeah, stuff like that. Or some people are more, they're not the fighter that's going to chase it, they're the flighter that's going to run away. Some will just appease, they just say whatever you want to hear, and some will tease. And so, but this is a big deal when it gets into conflict, because that same pattern might follow you into your conflict. So some people are, yeah, I know, I'm horrible, leave me alone. And some are like, no, shut your mouth, and they start the fight, right? So we're going to look at some patterns, and I want you, all the key to this is just to start noticing what is your pattern when it comes to conflict, when it comes to life, when it comes to anything you don't necessarily like in a relationship.
Just being aware.
Just being aware, that's all we're talking about. Be aware of your patterns.
A classic piece of literature film.
Yeah, the best film ever made next to Dumb and Dumber was Groundhog Day. And if you remember, over and over, Bill Murray keeps going through these scenarios because he's having the same day over and over again.
Right.
So we're going to show you some scenarios where he approaches the same annoying person 4 different ways so that everyone can get a chance to see what his pattern is. Okay? Let's go to the first one. The first one is about appeasing. So this is a guy named Ned Flanders is chasing him. He doesn't like Ned. Ned's an obnoxious friend from the past that will not leave him alone.
We all have a Ned Flanders.
Yeah, we all do.
Let's see how this plays out.
Phil? Hey! Phil Connors! I thought that was you. My, oh my, Phil Connors. Now, don't you say you don't remember me, because I sure as heck fire remember you. Well?
Ned Ryerson?
Bing! Oh, first shot right out of the box. So, how's it going, old buddy?
Well, to say the truth, Nettie, I'm not feeling real well. Would you excuse me?
Well, you know, it's funny you should mention your health, because you will never guess what I do now.
Oh, man. So do you see that? Ned Ryerson's his name.
Correction.
Ned Flanders from The Simpsons. He's another annoying Ned. It's the most amazing thing. I can see how you get
those Neds just crossed in your life.
But did you see that he doesn't want to talk to Ned?
Right.
He doesn't.
His eyes are dodgy.
He's dodgy, but yeah, Ned keeps pushing, and he just appeases. So all he's doing is appeasing, and he'll just go with Ned, and then Ned will do the whole insurance sales pitch to him. Some of us feel trapped because we're appeasers.
But isn't appeasing part of just good social graces in some situations?
It probably is, except if you see that every day you get stuck with the insurance salesperson and you can't get away, or you're stuck at the door with the door-to-door guy and you can't get away, you're probably an appeaser, and it might serve you to find another pattern.
What would we do instead to Ned Ryerson?
You know, maybe just state your feelings. Like, you know what, I'm really busy and I appreciate your time and my time, and I've got to go. Now that seems aggressive and strong, but to an appeaser.
Sure.
But the reality is, you got to move on sometimes in life, right?
Yeah, all right.
The second one is the fighter, I believe. Is that what we're doing next? Is fighter?
Fighter, yeah.
Yeah, the fighter's the one that's the most common one that'll like take you on. They're the one that they don't want to sit and waste time.
Okay.
Check it out again. Same scenario, different approach.
Hey, Phil! Phil Connors! I thought, Phil, don't say you don't remember me, because I sure as heck fire remember you. It's me, Ned Ryerson. Needle-nosed Ned the head. Come on, buddy. Case, what's her name?
Okay.
Flighter here?
That was the flighter. Did you see that? He was running. He couldn't get away. He could not get away fast enough. Some of us just try to get away. It might be better, instead of just running away from somebody, that you confront them and you say, you know what? We really don't want to do this. I don't have time for this. I can't do it. If you want, call my people. We'll meet. But the reality is running from them, it doesn't necessarily get rid of them.
Now, with a flighter in a relationship, when we're talking about conflict and we're talking about arguments and bumps in the road that surface,
then we never deal with it. We're just constantly on the run.
They just run away.
And usually the flighter would be married to the fighter. So now we're going to see a picture of the fighter.
Okay, let's see.
This is, by the way, same Ned.
Oh, Ned.
Different approach.
Here he goes.
Hey, Phil? Phil? Hey, Phil Connors.
Ned?
We do not recommend that. We don't recommend that. But see how quickly the fighter just gets to the fight.
Bow.
Like, by the way, it ended it. It ended it.
It was over.
But you know what? In Groundhog Day, when he sees him again tomorrow, guess what's going to happen? We're at it again. We're going to just do it again. We're going to do it again. Usually fighters create flighters. If you always knew you're going to get hit, you're always going to run. If you, and by the way, flighters tend to create fighters because they have to chase you to get this thing going. Fighters want progress, flighters want peace.
So depending on who you're married to, that could just kind of blow up your pattern problems.
So notice your pattern and their pattern might actually be very simpatico and very friendly to each other. So you end up doing the same pattern, and then you justify your ineffective pattern because they do their pattern. You don't even want to be this ineffective.
Right.
I'm only a flighter because you're a fighter.
Right.
And then that keeps the fight and the flight going.
Now, we cringe at the word fighter, but haven't you taught us before that women are typically...
Women are, we call them pursuers in the communication world.
Word.
Yeah. But women generally, 70% of the time, are the ones that are going to initiate the talk and keep trying to push to have the talk.
Right.
70% of the time, the men are going to run.
Women are going to go, bam, let's go, and the guys are going to be running away.
And it's not because we're just afraid. It's just a lot of times the guys are undertooled, and they don't necessarily, they don't have the same need you do to have this conversation.
Right.
Especially, too, because a lot of times the conversation is about how messed up I am. So we don't want to go there. So the last one that we see here is the tease.
Okay.
Watch what he does. This is a completely opposite approach to Ned, and watch what happens to Ned. Ned actually opts out of the conversation.
Okay, let's see.
Phil Connors, I thought it was you.
Ned Ryerson.
Yeah.
I have missed you so much. I don't know where you're headed, but can you call in sick?
I gotta get going. It's good to see you, Phil.
Don't you love that?
I just want to go watch this movie now.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Watch, it's completely the opposite approach, but it got what he wanted.
Yeah.
It got rid of Ned. And it was kind of, he was teasing him, but really what it was is if you do something opposite, you're going to get an opposite effect.
I love that. So we can watch, we can learn, we can kind of assess our own patterns and then try to find a better solution to get what we want.
And the number one key is just recognize what your patterns are.
Yeah.
You keep thinking that it's the same Groundhog Day, same talk over and over, same relationship, same fight. In reality, it's not. It's just the same pattern. You can change it anytime you want. And then the real key is just hug each other.
Just, you know,
Because if you just hug on each other, everything's better.
just tease.
It's such a good
All right,
thing.
hey, we are still celebrating the news that you are going to St. George soon.
September.
Oh, what?
October, no, when is it? April 19th, 11 a.m. to 4 o'clock. We're going to St. George, and what we're going to teach are how to get through these patterns and how to, instead of fighting or flighting or appeasing and teasing, how to stop and talk. All you got to do is go to realcommunicationworkshop.com and you get a discount.
Now people are going to be booking for September, but it's April.
I know. Something about September.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Brett.
All right, my easy way